The railroad is one of the best stories of Sacramento. Actually, it predates so many other things. People think of the railroad as coming in with the Transcontinental in 1869. Actually, there were people in New York trying to figure out how to build a railroad across the country as early as 1849 and 1850. And certainly the gold rush is what promotes the idea of causing this form of transportation to get to California. But it's a daunting task. In fact, the federal government funds expeditions to look for a route. And there's three contenders: a northern route, a central route, and a southern route. And the southern route had the southern states obviously favoring it. But when the Civil War breaks out, they don't count anymore. So that is essentially how the central route got picked, is because the South was out of the running. But in that contention of building a rail, first, the idea is, how do you get across the Sierras? And to get across the Sierras, they went back to Sacramento, and they went to a guy who had built the first railroad in California, a guy named Theodore Judah, who was a chief engineer. In fact, his offices were in the Hastings building at 2nd and J Streets. Judah believed they could cut a path through the Sierra Nevadas. He created a concept, an idea, he explored it, and eventually came up with a route, which Sacramento merchants then were able to promote. They were able to go to the government, and we created two competing railroads: a Central Pacific Railroad and a Union Pacific Railroad, one building from the east, one building from the south. Central Pacific cut ground at Front and I Street, with the then governor of California giving an address of, usual political address of 2 or 3 hours. You have in Sacramento a city that's laid out for transportation. Sacramento is all about transportation, always has been. And so the railroad was able to fit into that scheme, just as had stagecoaches and riverboats and the Pony Express. And the process was, this was the perfect place to terminate a transcontinental railroad, was Sacramento.